really in the game, then they might say your name in the Hall of Fame.
You got to check out this article from our Seahawks reporter Brady Henderson over on ESPN.com, where he poses the $20 million question: when will the Seahawks extend Jamal Adams? When indeed? Here is a reminder of what the Seahawks have already spent on Jamal Adams when they traded for him last summer. Traded 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and safety Bradley McDougald for Adams, and a 4th-round pick coming up in 2022. So, Mina, given all that they paid to acquire him, do the Seahawks need to get this extension done?
They don't really have a choice, Stan. I mean, they made their decision the second they traded away all those picks you saw there, gave up their leverage. And this is something we've seen happen in the NFL before. I think of the Texans trading for Laramie Tunsil. And when that happens, and a player doesn't have much time left on their deal, but a team gives up, a yacht full of draft picks for them, he's going to get paid. Now, whether or not he's worth it, I think, is interesting and debatable. Because on one hand, look, Jamal Adams is a phenomenal player, set the record for sacks at his position last year, incredibly disruptive, physical, a tone setter on that defense, an emotional leader, I think. But on the other hand, wasn't phenomenal in coverage. He was injured some of last season, and I do see how, as a football team, you're thinking about your roster and how you're allocating your cap, not wanting to spend that much money, $20 million, on a safety who isn't elite in coverage, given how pass-heavy the NFL is today. But that's not the world we live in. We live in a world where the Seahawks already gave up all those draft picks for him. And I will say, I do think he can rebound a bit in coverage this year because Seattle will have more depth up front, and they won't need him to rush the passer and blitz as much as they did last year. And he can focus more on getting healthy and on playing well on that side of the ball.
Yeah, they may not need him, but he is awfully good at it, and he plays all over, right? He played over 150 snaps at safety, linebacker, and cornerback, but most of those snaps came at outside linebacker, which is a big reason why he had 9.5 sacks, which led the team. It's been 3 years, 2 GMs and 4 head coaches since the Cleveland Browns made Baker Mayfield the #1 pick in the 2018 draft. After 3 years, the rules say you can negotiate a contract extension if you and your team feel like it. Saw it last year with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, Deshaun Watson in Houston. Browns have already picked up Baker Mayfield's 5th-year option, which will pay him $18.85 million in 2022 if they don't extend him, but they might, just as the Bills might extend Josh Allen and the Ravens might extend Lamar Jackson. All 3 different situations, Jeff, that 2018 quarterback draft class up for extension. Do you think Baker could be the first of those 3 to get one?
Well, I do, and I wouldn't have thought that until Tony Grossi, longtime reporter covering the Cleveland Browns, spoke to Baker's agent and reported that, in fact, they do believe a deal could get done this summer, pointing out that they don't feel the need to wait on the Lamar Jackson and the Josh Allen deals to get done because the quarterback market has already set itself with other recent deals. Also pointing out they know what the cap will be in future. They feel like they have an idea that it will go up in the next 2 years. They feel like the parameters are set. Now, that being said, it's still a Browns situation where they do have him under control for this year and the 5th-year option. One other thing we should point out here is that generally these deals do happen June, July. That's when Patrick Mahomes got his deal done, Carson Wentz, going all the way back, Andrew Luck. Most of the time, when you get that rookie deal, that first big deal comes June or July. So we should be paying close attention to this one in the coming weeks.
Yeah, Jeff, the Browns have made it clear. They love Baker. They want Baker long term. The question is when, right? But they're not under any pressure to get something done now. Because as you said, they have that 5th-year option. And they have other guys, Nick Chubb, like Wyatt Teller. They've got guys that they also have to look after from a long-term perspective. So Baker, both sides want to be together. How much financially do they want to come to an agreement on it? I think this gets done, but really, the Browns, Andrew Berry, their GM, is not somebody who just spends money willy-nilly and says, okay, we've got to get this guy locked up right now. He can be patient because he knows that Baker is going to be the guy. Now, I did ask people around the league, what happens if they don't sign him? What if Baker balls out? Then the Browns have to pay even more money. And you know what? That's actually not a bad problem to have. Jeff, if you're the Browns, okay, what's a couple more $1 million when your QB is balling out and playing at an elite level?
Yeah, they call that the Dak Prescott plan, I think, in Dallas. It's interesting because Mayfield's fifth-year option number for 22 is lower than those of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson because they've hit performance benchmarks. Kimberly, what do you know about where things stand with the Ravens and a potential Lamar Jackson extension?
So that's another one where that's the one where everybody's like, okay, this has to get done, right? But it's similar in that if Lamar does ball out and they don't do a deal now, they're comfortable paying him because unlike Baker, he's been a league MVP. He's been to the playoffs every year that he's been in the league. And Lamar doesn't have a traditional agent. So I'm not sure how that is affecting things, whether it's slowing down the process or not, because his mom is his manager and handles his affairs, and they keep things very close to the vest. But the Ravens do want to lock up Lamar. I think this is the deal that actually would get done before Baker.
Yeah, Dan, this is such an interesting timing situation because we go back to the deals of Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, where those teams regret probably doing those deals as early as they did after the third season. And then the Cowboys, on the other hand, waiting so long with Dak Prescott and perhaps paying more than they would have wanted. GMs now are facing this unique dilemma of trying to walk that line of whether they should pay their quarterback after the third season or wait out that fourth year and do it before the fifth-year option. So tricky situation for all three teams, all three of which will try their best to address these situations in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, we will track those situations as the summer progresses. But next on NFL Live, we're tracking the Aaron Rodgers situation. With his status in question, backup quarterback Jordan Love could take some advice from his predecessor.
Take it down first.